Hello. So, at first, I was just gonna title this Losing a Loved One to COVID. But then I meditated on it a little bit and I was just reminded that there are a lot of people out there that, even though they may have not lost a loved one specifically to the coronavirus, are having to deal with a lot of similar things to those of us who have. So I was going to just include, around this time, losing a loved one around this time. So the reason I'm doing this is because I guess like kind of journaling and keeping like a blog or a vlog or whatever is kind of therapeutic for some people. I still can't believe what happened. At times you don't want to talk about it at all. At times you just want to keep your mind off of it and just try to focus on other things, because you're like afraid that if you focus on that for too much, for too long, what have you, then you'll start to get really, really sad and maybe break down. Other times it does help to talk about it, for me personally anyway. I've connected with people in groups. There's some, online groups, grief support groups who normally might meet in person, but are, doing the online thing or the virtual like video thing, which is, helps just as much almost. And then like Facebook groups and stuff of people who've lost loved ones recently. And those things help. Sometimes I can't go in there because if I'm feeling kind of okay or in a better mood, I might read something that might trigger me, bring me down. Like I'll feel bad for someone else. And at the same time, just, feeling bad for myself, the mourning and grieving I'm going through. But I just wanted to just put a little message out there, because even though some days it just feels like I'm in a nightmare that I can't wake up from. And, sometimes I feel like I want to go to sleep and never wake up because I feel like I'm in a nightmare. There are other times where it's like I try to appreciate the beauty in life, even though this has been a really rough year, hard especially to do that. And things that my mom liked and enjoyed, like going to the beach and the sun and the beautiful weather and things like that. It's literally one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And not that I can't use the word consolation. A lot of people say they meet someone going through something similar to them, it gives them consolation. I don't know about consolation, but I guess it just is a reminder that you're not alone in going through this. And when you do talk to other people, it's kind of like you have like this kinship, like kindred spirits in a way. Not like you both were like in a sorority together or whatever, or did an internship for college together. More like you both like survived the Holocaust or something. Rather it not have been a kind of kinship that it is, but still, a connection nonetheless. Someone who can somewhat empathize with you. Because a lot of the times, those are the things that really get me. Like I'll meet somebody or I'll see somebody on the internet or observe something going on. And I'm just like, they could be happy, enjoying themselves, or they could just be acting a fool or something. And I'm just like, like they have no idea the pain that some people are going through right now. And just kind of like the whole, it's not fair and this and that. But if you meet people going through something similar, you do kind of draw strength from them. It's almost like an unsaid thing. It's not like you just have to focus on meditating and praying for them and sending them prayer and, positive vibes and uplifting energy. It's just like this understood thing, this just kind of innate, just underlying thing. Like, okay, you get me, you kind of understand what I'm going through. Not everything, but a lot of it. And so I just wanted to say to everyone else out there going through this, that you're not alone. That was one of the first things that I really, after I just was so devastated and still in shock, I just remembered like there are hundreds of thousands of other people going through this same thing in this country, millions all over the world. And no matter your opinions or your beliefs of how this virus started, if you believe in, any of the things saying it may have been like a man-made biochemical warfare, like bioterrorism sort of thing, either way, it is affecting people regardless of what they think about it or how much they think they know about it. And it's mostly affecting elderly people, people who have, other ailments, whose their immune systems may not be the strongest anyway. Their organs may not be functioning the strongest. My mom personally, she only had like 40% kidney function. She also had COPD and an enlarged heart, so she had a lot working against her. But she is a fighter to the very end, like many of your relatives and friends and loved ones, I'm sure. The whole situation is just devastating. And for the longest time, I would say, like, I'm so thankful that I haven't even known any close friends or relatives that had gotten sick, let alone lost one to this coronavirus pandemic. And on May 24th, 2020, I lost my mom, and I'm still in shock. But again, there are so many other people out there going through this as well. And it's exceptionally painful because unlike, I guess during a regular time where a lot of people feel like a memorial service or a funeral or something like that can help provide closure, or at least something like you can, bring everybody in the family together and you can celebrate that person's life or remember the good times and the memories or anything like that. We can't even have proper funerals and memorial services for these people. Even the people who live nearby, close by each other, they have to limit the crowd sizes right now. Their church or place of worship where they might even want to have it may not be open. Funeral homes are limiting how many people can gather. It's just an effing nightmare. It really is. And these people deserve better. Their loved ones deserve better. And it would almost be nice if, like, I don't know, there was some kind of memorial or something done for these people, kind of like the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, just like a day, like Memorial Day or Veterans Day or whatever, just to kind of remember these people. Because a lot of them can't have smaller services. And people say if you have family members spread across the country or the world, the whole travel aspect comes into question. How safe is it to travel? A lot of travel accommodations aren't as readily available as they normally are. And it's a nightmare. It really is. And thankfully, my mom had me and my sisters to help advocate for her while she was in the hospital. But as many of you know, some elderly people did not even have that. And I'm not even going to go into the things that they had to go through and the ordeals that they suffered from in this video. That'll be a different video. But at first it was hard because my older sister was the only one who could speak to the doctors and even get information on my mom's care. At one point, she wasn't well enough to be able to even give them consent. Like, yes, you can speak to my youngest daughter as well. And that actually didn't happen towards, like, near the very end. So just, not only can you not visit your loved one in the hospital, you may be able to video with them, FaceTime with them, depending on how well they're doing. But if they have, like, breathing machines and apparatuses on and stuff like a lot of these COVID patients do, then they're covering their nose and their mouth. They can't really talk or interact that much. There's just so many levels of heartbreak. Like, my sister did go a few times. She couldn't even go in the room with her. She couldn't even hold her hand. I mean, it's like the literally the most difficult, saddest thing I've ever had to go through. And it's like you feel like you can't even be there enough. You know, it's like you just wonder, did I let my loved one down? But then you just have to remember your heart is in the right place. And if you're a spiritual person, then, you know, you kind of believe in that sort of thing where like the spirit knows, the spirit understands your heart, you know, your intentions. And if you believe in God, you know, he knows your heart and all that stuff. But it's still hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with and go through. Not being able to hold my mom's hand like any other time she may have been sick or in the hospital. Not being able to speak face to face with the doctors and nurses treating her who literally have her life in their hands. Not being able to hug, you know, my sisters or whoever else and just give them that embrace and that physical sign of just encouragement and love and get strength off one another. Everything's been off the phone and video. So hopefully soon we'll be able to get together and travel, plan this thing. We wanted to plan an outdoor memorial for my mom because she loved things like the water, the mountains. She was really big on that. She was very spiritual, and she felt like that's where she, you know, felt closest to God, like out in nature, just enjoying the splendor of, you know, nature, natural wonders. And I think I get that a lot from her. I love the ocean. And was just actually helping look forward to move her down from Pennsylvania to Florida. We were like closer with it than we'd ever been, and then this happened. But my cousin, just so poetic and empathetic, just reminded me, you know, the beaches in Florida are beautiful, but they're nothing compared to the beaches in heaven. I thought that was really sweet. So just anybody out there having these thoughts, being hard on yourself, like I wish I could have done more for this person, been there more, said more, towards the very end, you know, even if it wasn't just a few weeks or months before, don't be hard on yourself. This nightmare that is going on right now is unprecedented, like nothing anyone in our generation has ever seen. And don't feel bad like it's something you did or your fault. It's not something you did or your fault at all. The people who created this monster virus, that's, you know, some people even call it the CCP virus, the Chinese Communist Party virus, because there's very strong evidence pointing to their connections to Wuhan. But again, that's another video. Just draw strength and knowing that you're not the only ones. There's many of us out there missing our loved ones and just going through such a difficult time, not even able to grieve the way people, I'm not going to say normally grieve because everybody grieves differently, but just there's certain, I guess, almost luxuries that people are awarded to pay homage to the person that's transitioned to the other side and celebrate their life. That's one of the hardest parts. There are lots of hard parts, but that's definitely one of the hardest ones. So I just encourage you to, even though it might seem cliche to you or you feel like you're not really the person that is kind of into, you know, joining any kind of social group or whatever, it does help, you know, just consider it. It may not, but it may. And the fact that it may, I think, is just worth that chance to take. And especially if you're kind of like physically isolated from the rest of your friends and family. It's hard enough if you're with most of them or you lived closer to the one that died. But me myself, I'm out of state. Like I said, my mom is up north and I live in the south, and wanted to help her move down, something she'd wanted, both of us have wanted for a long time. And then this happened. But I do believe in a higher power. I do believe in heaven and an afterlife. And I do believe these spirit guides and souls and angels are looking down on us, giving us guidance, sending us love, helping us to continue to fight the good fight down here on earth. There are so many amazing doctors out there who've been whistleblowers about the type of treatment that does work and doesn't work. God bless them. I feel like they definitely are doing due diligence and taking that oath that they took to do no harm to heart. It's not just about protocol. Like, this is something that has never before been experienced in our country to this magnitude in our generation. And there's so many wonderful doctors out there just doing this research and everything on this virus and how to treat it. Because a lot of, I guess, the issues seem to lie after the person is diagnosed in the treatment. Some treatment exacerbates the symptoms and makes them worse. So just a shout out to Dr. Rashid Buttar, Dr. Cameron Kyle Seidel, and Dr. Zach Bush, just to name a few. Also Dr. Judy Mikovits. She's not practicing right now, but she's a scientist who worked on viruses, and she's a very interesting character if you want to look her up. Definitely a whistleblower. So yeah, this might be a part 1 of maybe a part 2 or a part 3, or it might be the only one. Like, I still honestly can't believe that this is a topic that I am journaling about. I can't even describe with words how much I miss my mom. Definitely don't want to go down that road right now, but just wanted to shout out a little bit of encouragement, because there aren't a lot of people going through this, but there are enough that they should not have to feel so isolated and alone. Like, even if it's a family that you guys all live under the same roof, it's just devastating. But you can draw strength from knowing there is others out there as you who missed your loved one. And I really feel that our loved ones would have wanted us to just keep going on. Again, like I said, fighting the good fight, finding out the treatments that work, how to save these other people. And those of you who have lost loved ones, not to COVID, something else, but you're still dealing with similar issues, like being able to, come together for a memorial service, or how many people can come to your memorial, or where to have it. At one point we were thinking of doing my mom's outdoors. I may have mentioned that. I thought it would have been really apropos to have hers at the beach. She just loved being out in natural light and stuff, and seeing the sun and the birds in the sky. Just really simple things. And if you're going through that, just know that you're not alone. Your relative knows your heart. God knows your heart. If you have to postpone having a proper dedication and memorial and service for your loved one, don't, beat yourself up over it. Don't feel like, oh, I should be able to do this, or think of that, or I wish I could plan this better. This is stuff that no one has ever even had to deal with. It's enough of a stress, even when you're not dealing with the pandemic, that is limiting, us being able to socialize and come together in unity and grieve or encourage each other or whatever. This is tough to deal with. So that, on top of this, the extra stressors brought on by this pandemic, don't beat yourself up. And I know it's cliche, but I do believe that everything does happen for a reason. I just encourage you to maybe join at least even one kind of support group. It does help. It really does. And just try to just remember them with acts of love and kindness. And again, just know you're not alone. It does sometimes help to express yourself and your feelings and your experience with someone else going through something similar. Because as much as some people care about you, there's just a difference when somebody can also empathize with you, when you can hear in their voice or read the words that they're typing, or even look into their eyes, and it's like we can be here for each other. It's like kind of almost finding like a new family. And just being optimistic. Who knows how much longer this is gonna go on, but just be strong, as your loved one would have wanted you to. And again, just know that you're not alone, and don't be too hard on yourself. And just try to stay healthy, stay happy, and stay safe. Take care.